Trying to catch my breath. Trying to catch my breath. Very difficult. 2 games in 2 days where you've got your money's worth, and you know what? Most of you didn't even pay a cent to watch the game, but if you had paid, you would have got your money's worth, even if you'd given $1 million, because those have been 2 cracker games. Hello and welcome. You're watching My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. I have with me Shaun, Pollock and Michael Vaughan. Polly, money's worth $1 million easy. Nails all gone, fingers chewed off.
Yeah, for sure. Thoroughly entertained. I mean, ebbs and flows. You know, there was almost grabbing victory from the jaws of defeat, and the other way around. It was so tight, but yeah, once again, big scores. Guys been with the ability to clear the boundaries, and just when you think these games are done and dusted, people are fighting back to have it tied at 201. I mean, really, you gave Mumbai no chance with probably 4 or 5 overs to go. And then Pollard and Kishan, who played brilliantly, got them, and in many ways could have got over the line. And if he'd middled it a little bit more, would have won it. But yeah, it did keep us on the edge of our seats for sure.
Absolutely. And Bonnie, you got 5 overs, 90 runs. You'd say this, yeah, you'd defend it, but not if Pollard is on the crease, 60 of 24, and young Ishan Kishan going all guns blazing. That's fabulous.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, people in Yorkshire are renowned for being quite tight. I think even the Yorkshire folk would have paid a couple of quid to watch that game of cricket. It had pretty much everything. I mean, the backing on display for 2 nights on the trot now is remarkable. You can question the bowling, you can question tactics, but the striking of these players, you know, Ishan Kishan, it was an amazing innings. He just kind of got himself in, then just exploded. And in Kieran Pollard, 60 off 24, you know, bowling spin to Pollard. I think all teams trying to avoid that. But the fact that Virat had used his seamers and he only had a couple of overs left, he kind of gambled on the leg spinners. And all of a sudden, Kieran got into his stride and got them so close to getting over the line. I don't know which time, obviously the RCB dressing room will be delighted to get the win, but I think both sets of players, and we both sat in that dressing room and go, what have we just witnessed in terms of the game of cricket? It was a great spectacle.
The last 6 overs, Ishan Kishan and Kieran Pollard got 103 runs. 6 overs, 103 runs. Shaun, Pollock is looking at that and saying, thank God I'm not a bowler right now.
Yeah, but we talk about the tactics, and from RCB, you know, with the 3 spinners, I'm very surprised they didn't go to Dubey for 1 over at least. I mean, he's bowled pretty well in his last outings, and to leave it with those spinners, I think you take, you know, the leg spinners have such a good role to play in the middle overs, but once it gets a little bit deep, like the 17th, 18th over, to have them as your only option, particularly when you've got 2 guys set, one left-hander, right-hander. I probably feel that's where they missed a trick. I would have definitely gone to Dubey at some stage, given him an over and seen how he went. I think what did play into their hands, though, and, you know, as bowlers in this T20 format, you sometimes think there's nothing in your favor. Sometimes you might get a surface that stops a little bit and you can be effective. But I think the bigger boundaries definitely helped RCB and enabled them to bowl their spinners. And Sundar, I mean, to think that they've gone for 200 and he's bowled 4 overs for 12.
It's insane, right? That's just, it's like, was he playing a different game? Like, really? Was he bowling outside in some local match? Because how do you do that, right?
Yeah, he was brilliant. He bowled to the guys, I mean, class batsmen at the top of the order, and managed to do that. I think it was the best figures in the IPL so far this season. So well done to him.
Yeah, Michael, just a word on that, of course, with the bowling tactics of, and we were talking about this earlier, and we'll put the bowling analysis up on the screen again so you can have a look at it. We were talking about the fact that Virat is going in with 6 bowling options, and we saw DK do this the other night really well with Kolkata, where he had 7 bowling options, really, you know, it changed them around really well. Today, are you equally surprised as Shaun is that didn't go for the 6th option at all?
Yeah, I am, but, you know, there's one relief captain, and that's Virat Kohli. I think if the RCB had lost that game tonight, he might have struggled to come back from that kind of loss from the positions that they found themselves in. It just tells you in T20 cricket, if you just switch off slightly in the field, and you go back to around the 13th over where, you know, the Mumbai Indians had no chance. They were looking at 17, 18s and over. And if you just switch off for that split second, for that over or 2, which they did, and it allowed them back into the game. And all of a sudden, you've got two players that are in who can strike the ball, clear the ropes. You've got one in Kieran Pollock who's just a brute of a man, and you've got a real skillful striker of the bowler at the other end in terms of a left-hand, right-hand combination. It's just a warning sign. The last two nights have been a warning sign for all teams that the game's never won.
Yeah.
You've got to on it for 120 balls. And if you just switch off for that one over, that brief little period in the middle, thinking that you've won the game, or you don't tactically kind of be on the money for the whole 20 overs, you just switch off slightly, well, it can cost you the game. I think Virat and the RCB team will be in that dressing room knowing they got away with that tonight.
Well, yeah, and I think the one thing we do need to consider though for the bowlers is, I mean, obviously the bats are so good and the grounds, some of the boundaries are pretty small, but when there is dew factor, it really does make it difficult, not only from a perspective of the ball's difficult to hold, but often what happens is you get some moisture on the bottom of your boots, and as you get into land in the front foot, you can slide just a little bit. So to get the control, you almost have to have like a rock solid landing in order to hit your Yorkers at will. And when you don't have that at the back end, the ball's slippery in your hands. You can understand how the odd full toss and length ball comes out. So I think we must sympathize with him a little bit. But as this tournament goes on, I think bowlers are going to have many more meetings about good plans to put in place in those last 5 overs, because you can't be, as a team and a unit, not being able to defend 18 and over.
They're going to have 2 rags, one for the ball, one for the boot.
Yeah.
Not the Brighton style. You take 2 rags out, not just one.
But young Ishan must be thinking, second last ball, well, it's 5 to win of 2. Swings it, gets caught. And I remember we were watching the game together, and I said that, you know what, he should just take a single, get his 100 and give the strike to Pollard. And I said it just as a joke. But now when I think back, if he had actually done that, Pollard did hit a 4 off the next ball. Ishan would have had his 100. Mumbai would have won right there. This just goes to tell you, two gentlemen, the reason I'm recounting this is sometimes my jokes have a lot of wisdom.
I don't know. I think that, there have to be more evidence than just one.
100% record. Listen, in 10 games, we've had 2 super overs. So very strange things are happening in this tournament. So I'm guessing you probably might get more examples than just the one. But really, Ishan will look at that and say, well, whatever, 100. But more than that, he will really be gutted about the fact that he couldn't finish it for his team, despite getting them right there. Took the horse right to the pond.
Yeah, I mean, I think he wants to take a lot of credit for getting his team close, and so close. And, that partnership with Kieran Pollock, we'll probably be talking about for a long, long time. But it is about getting over the line. And it's the adrenaline when you're out in the middle. We're watching it on the telly as you were, just get the 1, get 100, or just wait. But you don't in that situation.
Yeah, you don't.
You play so well for 99, and you're just full of confidence, and you believe you can pretty much hit any ball you want to the boundary. It was a fantastic innings, one that you kind of look at and think, wait a minute, there's a lot more to come from Ishan Kishan in this tournament.
Yeah, and if you look at the partnership stat, Shaun, if you just look at that partnership stat, he's actually outscored Pollard. That's not easy, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't.
No, he hasn't. Sorry, I misread it. It's a very small font. I thought he was 56 or 28. No, so but he's kept up with it.
Yeah, he has, and as you say, we think if you look back to those last few overs, you think of Pollard smashing 666, but Ishan Kishan did a really good job. It is such a pity, though, isn't it? You get 99. First of all, you don't get a 3 figures, and then to have that massive contribution, not take your team over the line, it does leave a bit of a sour taste. But from the way he's played, he's going to get a lot more opportunities. He sat on the bench for the first 2 games. But with a strike rate like that, the amount of 6s he's hit and the way he played, I'm sure he's almost bankered himself a position in that middle order for quite a few games to come.
Yeah, he might just play. And you never know. Maybe Saurav Tiwari playing in his position, which was quite a surprise, would have maybe just sort of got him going even more, got him even hungrier. But you make a fair point about Ishan Kishan saying 99 finishes on the losing side. Maybe Mayank Agarwal should give him a call and say, buddy, it's happened to me twice. It's happened to me twice. It's all right. You'll get over it, young one. You'll get over it. Let's talk about the super over for just a second. Your thoughts on the super over. Just want to give you some information that Ishan Kishan had just said that the reason why he didn't come out One, of course, you have Pollard and Pandya, so you definitely want to send them out first. Great strikers. But Ishan has also said that he was absolutely drained and sapped because I guess the weather as well, right? Dehydrated, that knock, which is the reason why he didn't come out, which I guess is understandable. But your thoughts on the Super Over, Michael?
Well, it's always difficult to kind of be too critical of any Super Over. It's one over. The bowlers generally have not been bowling. Batsmen have been starting the filling apart from one.
But Seni was good.
Yes, that is excellent. We spoke about him pre-match. He looks a real find for India. He's got pace, skill, and to hold your nerve under that situation, it takes a huge amount of kind of composure in your own mindset. And also, you've got to love it. You've got to love being in those situations. There are players that fear those kind of moments, fear that the spotlight's on them. And I think India will be very happy, in particular, finding a bowler that looks like he's got the composure to be able to bowl under pressure, which is exactly what you need.
And I think also the way he came back to bowl that last over, the Super Over, after what had just unfolded, what is 2 or 3 overs before that, where he actually didn't hit his straps. I think he gave over 14 or 15 runs away in that over. So to have a little bit of a regroup, that sometimes where the management earn their money, where they go and have a little chat with him and say, listen, these are the 6 balls you need to be concentrating on doing. And he did it pretty well. So, yeah, it makes life a lot easier when you walk to the creases as RCB, knowing that you've just got to get 7 or 8. You can sort of play within yourself. But Bumrah made it difficult for them. He also went to the better option than what we saw him bowl first time around. So he also probably had to rethink after chatting to his bowling coach.
And of course, the last ball of the Super Over, 1 run to win, Bumrah bowling to Virat. Virat's not been able to middle much in the last 3 games, but if we had to choose one ball to middle, that was a good one to choose, right?
Yeah, and you just wonder with Virat whether in that just one moment, it's only one ball, just will get those confidence juices going back through the body. It doesn't take a lot for great players to suddenly find their confidence once again. And more importantly, as a leader, he's won.
Yeah.
If he lost that game tonight, the question marks would have been at Virat about his tactics, the team selection, maybe switching off around that 14th, 15th over mark. The RCB team have won 2 out of 3. They're out of the traps better than we've seen them. And maybe tonight's combinations, they might change it up, bring another seamer in for the likes of Sharjah and co. But I thought they looked a well-balanced team tonight, a lot better than I saw in the first 2 games. So it's a really good sign for the RCB.
It is, and for Mumbai again, Polly, UAE memories, right?
Yeah, they haven't played all that well. We thought they'd maybe broken the issue after winning the last game, but one game out of 8 that has been won in UAE over 2 seasons. Yeah, that's it's not ideal. But you do look at their side and you think to yourself, gosh, come on, that team can't lose that many games as they go on in the tournament. They've got to come good. And even now with the youngster coming good, he gets 99. That was the sort of one position that was maybe up for grabs. So he's got form. And your bowling options, the guys are going to start having more options with Pandya coming back and maybe Pollard bowling a bit more. So I don't see how they can continue to lose. I think that little bad streak is going to look better and better as the tournament goes on.
Just one last bit on Mumbai's batting effort there with the chase. Of course, we're talking about the back end where Pollard and Ishan did the rescue effort to get them to level the score, but they had to do that rescue effort because of a very, very sluggish power play. Michael, your thoughts on that?
Well, RCB were good. Washington Sundar was excellent. When you're chasing a big total, these kind of things happen sometimes at the start. Then you're expecting the ball to travel to all parts. You lose a key wicket and row it early, and it can knock the confidence of the side. And, what I'd be saying to the Mumbai Indians is, wait a minute, we've taken a team like RCB who've played exceptionally well to a Super Over, and we really haven't been on our game tonight, barring one partnership.
Great thought.
For themselves in the field, they weren't quite as good as they could have been. With the bat in hand up until the 14th over, nowhere near as good as they could have been. Yet they've taken the RCB team into the Super Over. So not a great night for Mumbai because they've lost, but I personally would think that they should take a lot of confidence from the fact that they've had a night where I reckon they were at 60% and got the Royal Challengers Bangalore into a Super Over. So there's plenty of positive for them to take from that.
Yeah, 60%. They managed to stretch the other team to max. and take it down to the last ball of the super over. Almost took it down a second super over, which obviously Polly and Bonnie don't care about because they're a few hours behind. I'm in India. It's midnight now. It's way past my bedtime at my age. My teeth automatically fall out.
Your football team are playing in a minute, aren't they? You'll be staying up for that?
Yeah, of course. I will. That's the real reason. I didn't want to. That's the real reason, of course. We're going to talk about, what has happened with that sluggish power play is that for the second time in this match, there is no My 11 Circle Badge of Honor to be won. We messed it up twice. We're rubbish at this game, aren't we? We're rubbish. All three of us are just absolutely rubbish.
I was closest, wasn't I? What was I, about 13 close? Or
No, what was it, 36 they got or something? You're about
10's not bad.
20 away.
You
can't claim that. Come on. You got to be closer than 20.
You are closer to Yorkshire than you are to guessing this correctly. 35. And look at me, optimism, Mr. Optimism. I had 65 down. Well, I was much, much, much further away. All right. But a few of you have been getting very close to the big prize. It's Monday evening. Monday evening means we tell you who has won a crore, who has become a My 11 Circle Crorepati of the week. Let's have a look. Ooh, it's exciting. It's big. This is a big one. We're going to tell you who it is. We're going to tell you what the team is. Congratulations, Virender Negi. Almost 500 points. Let's talk about the team that you had. And some really good picks there, gents. Got Mayank Agarwal. Whoa, that's a good pick. 2 great knocks. Sanju Samson, of course, 2 good knocks for him. Lots and lots of sixes playing in Sharjah. Nicholas Puran as well. That's a good team. KL Rahul, good picks.
Yeah, good picks. Jofra Archer, a few points for those sixes that he keeps hitting. Tom Curran, another England player. Jofra Archer and Tom, actually, I think Tom was born in Zimbabwe. I think Jofra was born in Barbados. But, it's
you have them now. You have them.
Kind of brush aside that these days. Steve Smith, he looks in fine form. Great consistency for Rajasthan. I think he's going to have a blinder of a tournament.
Well, I mean,
they gets 40-odd points for him after that effort last night.
He played nice. Does Puran get extra points for that outstanding bit of fielding?
He should, shouldn't he? I mean, he's ended up saving 4 runs, but we just talk about that.
You know how good it would have been if he'd managed just to scoop that up in the end. Maxwell would have got under a little one-handed catch somewhere. I mean, can you imagine if that had happened? That's the next step.
The other thing as well, I think a lot of people miss noticing that while he managed to throw that ball while he was, and I asked this yesterday to Manoj Tiwari and Ajay Jadeja, has anyone ever seen Nicholas Puran and Superman in the same room? And they haven't. So, that makes a lot of sense. But he was like this. He was parallel to the ground when he threw the ball. So we all noticed that. But did you notice he caught it flying with one hand?
Yes. And also, if you point to the equation, he was diving towards the digital advertising hoarding.
Yeah.
So in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I've got to catch it. I've got to release it. And at the end of this, I might end up with my head hitting the It was remarkable fielding.
Do you think he'd get a bonus from the sponsor if he did that? I think he should. If you crash headfirst into an advertising logo, you really should get a little extra money for that. But hang on, Virender Negi, you don't need no extra money today because you are on our My 11 Circle Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Our first one was Darshan Bisht, was week 1. Virender Negi is week 2. Congratulations on our My 11 Circle Hall of Fame. Jeez, well done, guys. Well done. And let's quickly have a look at our boost stamina meter as well, while we are looking at high achievers and we are looking at rankings. This time it's Devdutt Padikkal. Devdutt Padikkal, of course, who spent the better part of the Bangalore innings. So he's won in the crease, so 93.4 points there. He was on the pitch for 103 balls. He got a 50, of course, and some hard running between the wickets, Michael.
Yeah, 41% of his runs came from running between the wickets. So, yeah, he had a good night. His GPRS system, what they were now, what is it, Polly, that they put around the chest? Or all you can and all the information of what the players have done. It looked a hot night. So he's earned his nice glass of water this evening, because you saw AB de Villiers behind the sticks. He looked like he was struggling from his batting and keeping. And I thought it was a good comment on commentary saying, how's he going to be over the next few weeks if he's got to keep wicket for a few games on the trot in the heat in Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. So it's worth monitoring the players' fitnesses over the next few weeks.
You don't want to be, AB doesn't want to be fielding first in a day game, right, Polly?
Yeah, especially on that heat. But they only start the day games later on in the tournament.
But this weekend they start. Yeah, that's it. So nothing in September, but in October. So they just pushed it back. They basically just pushed it back by a week, because they would have had it the gone weekend, but they're going to have it in the coming weekend. So they pretty much just pushed it by a week. Yeah. But yes, I mean, a week also in the desert to just cool down, even if it's 1 or 2 degrees, 1 or 2 points. Well, they'll take it.
Yeah, and it won't be ideal, as you say, particularly if you've got matches happening 2 or 3 days apart, for the Villiers to have to keep first and then come out and have a long innings. He's not getting any younger, but he's a fit man, so I'll still back him to be all right.
Yeah, and they're not going to let him take those gloves off now, are they? They're not going to let him take those gloves off. He's got another 11 games as wicketkeeper, hasn't he, Moni?
Well, they go all the way. They're a better balanced team. It's as simple as that. He has to keep wicket. It allows Adam Zampa to play tonight. It may allow Moeen Ali to come into the side at certain stages. They're a better team with him behind the stump, so I'm sure he'll be staying there.
Well, let's have a look at where this better team today has landed up on the points table. Remember, they've got their second win now. We have Delhi still on top at 2 from 2. Rajasthan also has 2 from 2. Bangalore now has 2 from 3. And then you have the rest.
Don't often see Chennai down there, eh?
You're not going to see them there for long, are you?
Maybe.
Whoa.
Maybe.
Maybe? You think?
Maybe it's that year maybe.
Do you think 2020 is the year when Bangalore goes on top and Chennai does not qualify to the playoffs for the first time in the history of the tournament?
I think it's too early to say that, but there will be a year that Chennai, I'm not saying get found out, but they'll get caught up by other teams. And I just look at kind of teams on paper, which wins nothing, but it stands for a lot. When I'm looking at it at the minute, I think there's a few better teams this year than the Chennai Super Kings. But with Dhoni behind the sticks and his leadership and Stephen Fleming, they seem to have that Midas touch that you get players playing and they know how to win the big games. So I'm not ruling them out yet, but there will be a year potentially that it doesn't all go for them.
But if there was any year for such a strange occurrence to happen, you know that this one is the top nominee.
In strange old times.
They have got 2 or 3 guys coming back there, haven't they?
Yes.
Raidu and Bravo, and that. So let's see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, Raidu coming back would definitely make a difference for him because he was very good in the first game. And also, I think he's one of the youngest in the team, isn't he? At 35.
That's the other point about their team being so old in the heat. You know, it's so hot over there, obviously, as it would be in India when you play the IPL. But when the fact these players have not played much cricket over the last few months and they're suddenly thrown into a tournament like the IPL, which
pretty
is
much 18 months for a lot of them since the last IPL.
Yeah, and a lot of the England players, when they came back in the summer to play in the bubble in the UK, that was the one thing they spoke about. The first 2 or 3 weeks, they were knackered because they'd just not been playing games out in the middle, spending a full day in the field. I know it's T20 cricket. It's different to test match cricket, but the intensity that the games are played under, you've got to be fit and the bodies will be tiring. So that's why I just throw it in there that Chennai might be this year that might get found out just slightly.
It's Michael Vaughan giving troll bait as usual. That's what he's doing. Just throwing it up. Don't fall for it, man. He's baiting you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oops, it's lighting up already. Too late. Well, let's have a look at the game that is going to be played on Tuesday. This is table toppers Delhi, 2 out of 2. Yeah, 2 out of 2. Playing against Hyderabad. This is match 11. It's going to be played in Abu Dhabi. Polly, what have you made of Delhi so far?
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I think they got their team selection good. Relying on 2 South African bowlers as well, which is quite important, you know, get those guys out there dominating.
Yeah.
And I think the what?
That means they'll get to the semi-finals and lose.
Oh! Ouch!
Gosh. Okay. Stirring.
That even hurt me.
Okay, well, we'll save those words and we'll repeat them at some stage on Cricbuzz and see if they are for real or not. But I think they'll be too strong. They've played some good cricket so far. I think Ricky's got them going in the right direction, and I would expect another performance from them tomorrow.
And solid pace, yeah. The South Africans are giving them solid pace up front. Seen Ishant Sharma training the last couple of days and putting up some videos that he's been training. Ashwin is expected to be back as well. You put Ishant and Ashwin in that team, Michael, and that team suddenly looks even stronger.
Yeah, I think they've collected well. And I do think Ricky Ponting plays a big part. You know, having Ricky in that dressing room. There's been a clip on social media of him giving a team talk after the win just the other day, and it's just the way that he talks to the players, very controlled, very calm. Bit of humour actually from Ricky at one stage, which I found quite amusing. But he'll get them playing. You just know that he'll have some good tactics, and you know, early in the tournament, but they've come out of the traps nicely. They look very well organised. They look like they've got good combinations, so they're going to be difficult to beat. And the Sunrisers, I mean. Again, they're a team that generally makes that playoff stage full of experience. That opening partnership hasn't quite fired yet, but Bairstow and Davey Warner, it won't be too long before they start to fire. So I think they are one of the teams that will get better.
Well, there's a lot of talk about getting Kane Williamson in when you've got a guy with that kind of experience. But if you've got Bairstow and Warner at the top, you're getting in a Nabi and a Rashid because you need, obviously, help with the bowling. You can't fit Williamson in.
Yeah, I think we also look back and how effective Bairstow and Warner were together the last time that they played in the Upper. They were absolutely brilliant. They set the tone and probably won 40 or 50% of the games that they went on to win as a team. New management in charge. You know, I think maybe just finding some time to find their feet. And I think they're too good a side to be at the bottom of the table. I would expect them to improve and get better.
But our opposition teams not looking at Hyderabad and saying, listen, we've just got to get one early break and that's it. We're in.
Yeah, they are. Of that, there's no doubt. But, I mean, you do see most T20 games, one of the top three are invariably at the crease for a period of time and tend to set up an innings or post a decent score. Warner hasn't quite looked at his best. Even in England, I thought he struggled quite a bit there and hasn't brought some top form in. But once he gets going and leading from the front and captaining, I think it'll be key for him to find some form.
So Michael, also there, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying Trevor Bayliss is the coach of the Sunrisers. So, I mean, it was a big call to manoeuvre Tom Moody with what he's done over the years at the Sunrisers. And Trevor's got trained, did such a good job with England. He's not a guy that flaps at all, Trevor Bayliss, so he won't be panicking just yet. But I guess if they lose tomorrow and it's 3 losses out of 3, he'll have to start rejigging that team to make sure, like the RCB team tonight, we were talking pre-match about the changes, and they generally do that when they lose one game. Well, they got away with it tonight, and they did look a better team tonight from what they were in the second game. And the Hyderabad squad is full of experience. It's full of kind of star players. That opening combination is the key. If they can get going and get confident and get the foundation set, they'll be hard to beat. But if you do get early wickets against them, you get Bairstow, you get Warner quickly. They just don't look like they've got as much power as some teams in that middle. Yeah,
there's also, Shaun, about the bowling, right? I mean, it's common knowledge that, the last few seasons they've got to the playoff because, just the bowling. They just had a bowling attack that could, the batters would give them 120 and the bowlers would win them the game, right? And that seems to have just not been coming off for them this season. Are you noticing a bit of just a lack of variety? And of course, Bhuvi's off the boil, right? A lot of injuries and everything. So Bhuvi being off the boil, he's one of their linchpins. He's the leader of the bowling group. Him being off the boil is one factor. And there's just a general sense of sameness that is perhaps sort of lack of variety that's coming in their attack.
Yeah, I think it is key that he does get going and gets that ball to swing around a little bit, because if he does do that up front, he's very challenging. I think big blow was the Mitchell Marsh injury. I know they've got Jason Holder coming in, so I don't know how long he has to be in isolation before maybe he could be an option for them to get in. But yeah, they've got the left arm seam-in options. The spinners in the middle, if they get the surface to turn. I mean, Rashid Khan is legendary at what he's done in the T20 game. If they do get off to a good start with Bhuvi, then they can really build that pressure in the middle overs. But the score they got last time.
Sorry, would you play, you said Holder, but would you play Holder over Nabi, considering Nabi's in good form from CPL, good batting?
Yeah, it is an option. I just think that the surface, the Abu Dhabi surface, was more conducive to the seamers up front. And, you know, I think that would probably be the better option for them. Batting-wise, the other experiment that didn't work for them was Sahar. You know, they got him in that middle period, and you know, he basically went to run a ball coming in at 4 or 5. You know, you can't really go with that option. And I know I feel for him, because when you were over there in India doing the test series, we were discussing how come he hadn't played a part much in the T20 format, and they felt like his striking wasn't up with regards to strike rate. So he's given this opportunity, but once again, all it's done really is create some more question marks for him and what he can possibly do. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a change there as well.
Well, just a real quick look at the Delhi team again. Michael, we'll get you in on that. In case you get Ishant Sharma and Ashwin fit tomorrow, 2 of India's top bowlers, of course. What are the changes you're looking at? Would that be Avesh Khan and Amit Mishra for you who'd be going up?
Yeah, I mean, if those two are fitly placed, I think you're right in terms of the changes. Ashwin is high class, you know, wonderful wicket-taking option for Ricky and the team. And I also like, you know, they've got so many good combinations with the bat, left hand, right hand, a lot of experience in Shikhar Dhawan, the inexperience of Prithvi Shaw, but we've seen his talent. Shimron Hetmeyer, again, a left hand striker of a ball, very similar to Ishan Kishan, can swing the ball into the stands. And they've got some depth in the batting as well. So they look a good team. Again, at this time in the tournament, with it being such a long tournament, there's always the odd team that comes at the start and go, oh, wait a minute, they could be potential winners. And there's teams that have got experience at kind of slow starters. Mumbai Indians, for one, they don't really like playing for the first few weeks, and all of a sudden they come into life and they catch everyone up. But I do look at Delhi and think that they could go quite a long way in this tournament because of the combinations that they have. And this Ricky Ponting factor, I do think it's a big play for them.
Yeah, I think
Ashwin's key.
Yeah. Ashwin is key.
Yeah, key that he gets back. I think he just gives such a nice balance, and the experience that he has in those middle overs is vitally important. So it's good news that they're even considering him to get back just after having missed with that one game.
Yeah, and the big concern, I guess, or the only concern perhaps today, they've got great top 6 bats. But you've got Akshar coming in at 7, and Akshar's not really won them any match with the bat so far. So then you have probably Ashwin coming at 8. So maybe that's a little gap that they're feeling at that point in time, where it just suddenly sort of just dips a little bit. But you know what? It's working right now. It's 2 out of 2. They haven't had Ishant. They haven't had Ashwin. They've only had him for 1 over, but they've got 2 out of 2. So. Well, of course, you possibly say that they go into tomorrow's game favourites, at least on form. All right, we just got one piece of business left now before I can crawl into bed and watch the football. It's the joy factor question. It's the joy factor question. Let's have a look at what the question is. We'll just recap that for you, and then we'll give you the answer. Let's put the question up on stage. What connects Shane Bond versus India in 05, Jeetan Patel versus Sri Lanka in 06, and Malinga Bandara versus South Africa also in 2006. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. Here's the answer. Super subs to win Man of the Match awards. Polly.
Wow.
Do you remember super subs?
Yeah, that was a great idea. That was a brilliant idea. Some of the bowlers used to just come to the ground with boots, and they didn't bring the rest of their kit because they knew they would be subbed out. Yeah. I'm not so far of us going back to that kind of thing. Maybe in a test match after the first innings each, you get to make a super sub. I think it was a good call. But I don't remember the game. I honestly don't remember him winning Man of the Match. Wow. And I was playing.
You were playing?
It's sad. My memory.
I have the same problem. It's age, Polly. It's age, It's age. If A.B. de Villiers and Mahendra Singh Dhoni can age, then we all can age. We really can. Well, we've got Michael Vaughan back over here, but right now we're just going to give you the name of our winner. Who got this correct? We were talking about super subs, Vaughanie. We thought that we subbed you out for somebody else, but you're back here, so that's good to see. Rajesh, 1M Rajesh is the winner. Congratulations. That was a tough question. I don't know, Michael, if your link had dropped out at that point in time, but the answer was that they were all super subs who won the Man of the Match award.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I knew.
Oh
that.
yeah, I'm sure you were.
Yeah, sure.
That's why my system went off, because everyone was surprised that I was going to know the answer. They wanted me out of the system to make sure that I didn't get it right. So,
Okay, that's good.
If I'm honest, I didn't have a clue. I thought it was a day or something like that. No idea.
I think you were in, just like Polly was in one of the games. I think you were in one of the games as well.
Was that?
Yeah. Which one? Well, there was 3, right? There was one, wasn't there? There was an England game there as well. I think there was. Oh, we'll just say you were there. No,
Yeah.
Fine. You can't. Oh, there you go. No, you weren't.
You
weren't. No, you weren't. Sorry, there's no England there. Sorry. There's no England there. But Polly was in that game in 2006, and he has no recollection. But just before we go, your view on super subs. Do you think we should get them back? Do you think that's a trend that should come back, like bell bottoms, super subs?
I think there's enough complications in the game as we speak, with all the different formats. We've even got the 100 arriving in England. What's meant to be this year, it's going to be next year. I think there's enough complication in the game of cricket without adding super subs.
Yeah, I mean, unless they can bring in something really simple and uncomplicated and controversy-free, like the VAR, right, Michael?
Yeah, don't get me started on VAR.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Polly. Let me just say, here is Michael Vaughan on VAR. Both of us leave. We come back tomorrow at 7 p.m. and wrap up your monologue on VAR.
You know how bad it is becoming, the VAR in this country, is that all the radio stations are talking more about VAR than they are COVID. You know that there's a problem with VAR when that's happened.
Yeah, that is true. It may actually be a bigger challenge than even COVID, because you know something about COVID, it will get solved at some point in time. You know something about VAR, I don't think it'll ever get solved.
No.
All right, well, that's it. We're moving from cricket to football now, and I think it's time for us to move out. A big thank you to Shaun Pollock joining us from South Africa, Michael Vaughan joining us from England. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you. A big thank you to all of you for watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We're going to see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Good night.